Bueckers.
Paige Bueckers, the UConn superstar, is about to step into the WNBA. But here's the thing, is she walking into a trap? Everyone's talking about her like she's the next big thing, but what if all this hype is setting her up for a major fall? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us.
Got away shuffling the feet too.
You have asked for this first half to go any better for UConn than it went.
Trying to get it to Clark. Does. Her three is good. Plus the foul.
So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. You know what's crazier than Paige's college success? The pressure cooker she's about to step into. The WNBA draft isn't just a day, it's the start of a gauntlet that's chewed up and spit out can't miss prospects before. Will Paige be different? Let's break it down. Paige Bueckers is projected to be the #1 overall pick in the WNBA draft. That's huge, but it's also a double-edged sword. Being the top pick means all eyes are on you from day one. No warm-up, no easing in. You're expected to be a star right out of the gate. Think about it, Paige hasn't even played a pro game yet, and people are already talking about her changing the league. That's a lot of weight to put on someone's shoulders, especially someone who's been sidelined with injuries. It's like asking a rookie chef to run a 5-star restaurant on their first day. Now, let's compare Paige's situation to Caitlin Clark's draft experience. Both are facing crazy expectations, but there's a twist. The media treats them differently. UConn and Iowa might both be basketball powerhouses.
Getting up earlier. Some days I start my days with Pilates, some days I start my day with rehab, and sort of just maintenance, taking care of my body in that way.
But they're not the same in the eyes of the press. Paige gets the next UConn legend treatment, while Caitlin's story is more about bringing glory to Iowa. Same hype, different flavors. But here's where it gets tricky. All this attention before the draft, it's not just hype, it's setting the stage for how Paige will be judged from her very first pro game. If she doesn't come out blazing, scoring 30 points a night, some folks might start whispering, is she overrated? That's the cruel part of being hyped as the next big thing. You don't get to be good, you have to be great right away. And let's not forget, Paige is coming off injuries. She hasn't played in a while. That adds a whole other layer of pressure. Can she stay healthy? Will she be the same player she was before? These are questions that wouldn't be as loud if she wasn't projected as the top pick. But here's the thing about the draft hype. It's not all bad. It's like a superpower that comes with a nasty side effect. On one hand, it puts Paige in the spotlight. Sponsors, fans, media attention, all that good stuff comes with being the projected #1. It could set her up for a fantastic career if she lives up to the hype. On the other hand, that same spotlight can burn. One bad game and suddenly everyone's got an opinion. Social media lights up, analysts start debating, and the pressure just keeps building. It's like trying to learn to drive with the whole world watching and commenting on every turn you make. Now, imagine stepping onto the court for your first pro game. The crowd's roaring, cameras are flashing, but instead of hearing your name, all you hear are comparisons. Is she the next Caitlin Clark? Can she live up to the hype? How do you play your own game when everyone's expecting you to be someone else? That's exactly what Paige Bueckers is facing as she prepares to enter the WNBA. It's not just about her skills anymore.
December 13th, through a paratibial fracture and a meniscus tear in her left knee. And to the point we talked about with Coach Auriemma about this as well.
It's about living up to a legend that's still being written. Let's talk about these comparisons for a second. Paige and Caitlin Clark are like two sides of the same coin. Both incredible players, both hyped beyond belief. But here's where it gets tricky. Paige isn't just competing against other rookies. She's up against Caitlin's shadow, even though they're not even on the same team. Think about it. Every time Paige steps on the court, people aren't just watching her game. They're comparing it to Caitlin's latest record-breaking performance. It's like trying to paint your masterpiece while someone's holding up the Mona Lisa next to you. Talk about pressure. And it's not just fans making these comparisons. The media's all over it too. They love a good rivalry, even if it's more in their heads than on the court. Every missed shot, every turnover. It's not just a normal rookie mistake. It's fuel for the "is Paige overrated" fire. But here's where it gets really unfair. Paige and Caitlin come from different college backgrounds. UConn and Iowa might both be basketball powerhouses, but they're treated differently. UConn's got this legacy of churning out WNBA superstars. So when Paige steps up, she's not just Paige, she's the next UConn legend. That's a whole lot of history to carry on your shoulders. Caitlin, on the other hand, she's Iowa's golden girl. She's got a different kind of pressure. It's more about bringing glory to her state, her school. It's still huge, but it's a different flavor of expectation. Now let's talk about what this means for Paige's mental game. Imagine trying to focus on your own development when everyone's constantly asking if you're as good as someone else. It's like trying to run your own race while everyone's telling you about someone else's finish line. These comparisons aren't just annoying, they can mess with your head. One bad game, and suddenly you're not just having an off day, you're not living up to the hype. That kind of pressure can make even the steadiest hands shake. But here's the real kicker. All these comparisons, they're setting Paige up for an almost impossible standard in her early WNBA career.
Shade goes back door. Bueckers reverses it home. Bueckers just 3 of 9 in that first.
Nobody saw like the dark times and like the sad times I was going through. And as a team leader, like I was just trying to do everything I could to just have a positive attitude about everything. And
think about it. If she plays well, it's expected. If she struggles, cue the overrated whispers. It's like people forget that even the greatest players had to adjust to the pro game. They're expecting Paige to step onto the court and instantly be the player she might become in 5 years. That's not fair, and it's not realistic. But here's the million-dollar question. Can Paige actually live up to this insane hype? We've seen rookies crumble under less pressure. What if the expectations are just too high? Let's break it down. Paige Bueckers is a beast on the court. She's got that killer combo of scoring, passing, and court vision that makes coaches drool. But here's the thing, the WNBA isn't college ball. It's a whole different game. In college, Paige was dropping jaws with her smooth jumper and crazy assists. But in the WNBA, she's gonna be up against players who are bigger, stronger, and just as skilled. That silky smooth game might not look so smooth when she's got a 6'4" defender in her face. And let's talk about that passing. Sure, Paige can thread the needle like nobody's business, but in the pros, those passing lanes close up real quick. What worked in college might end up as a turnover in the WNBA. Now, don't get me wrong, Paige has got the goods. But the WNBA is where good becomes great, and great becomes legendary. It's not just about talent anymore. It's about adapting, evolving, and straight up surviving. Remember when Sabrina Ionescu entered the league? Everyone thought she was gonna set the world on fire. And yeah, she's good, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. Injuries, adjustments, the whole 9 yards. That's the reality of the pro game. On the flip side, you've got A'ja Wilson. She came in with the hype and actually lived up to it. MVP in her 3rd season? That's the dream scenario for Paige. But here's the catch. A'ja's success just raises the bar even higher.
They're bigger than they were yesterday, right? Before the surgery, I was doing upper body and lower body stuff. And then after the surgery, I just focused a lot on my upper body, started trying to get my arms ripped.
So what's the real challenge for Paige? It's not just about playing well, it's about meeting expectations that are through the roof. We're talking change the league kind of expectations. That's a lot of pressure for anyone, let alone a rookie. Think about it. If Paige averages 15 points and 5 assists a game, that's pretty solid for a rookie, right? But with all this hype, people might look at those numbers and go, that's it? It's like being good isn't good enough. She's got to be great from day one. And let's not forget, Paige is coming off injuries. She hasn't played in a while. That's another hurdle she's got to jump. Can she stay healthy? Will she be the same player she was before? These are questions that wouldn't be as loud if she wasn't hyped as the next big thing. The media is going to be all over her too. Every game, every shot, every turnover, it's all going to be analyzed to death. One bad game, and suddenly everyone's got an opinion. It's like playing with the whole world, watching and commenting on every move you make. But here's the thing about hype. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it puts Paige in the spotlight. Sponsors, fans, media attention. All that good stuff comes with being the next big thing. It could set her up for a fantastic career if she lives up to it. On the other hand, that same spotlight can burn. The pressure to perform, to be great right away, to change the game, that's a heavy load for anyone to carry. And if she doesn't meet those sky-high expectations, the fall can be hard.